Hello and welcome to day 3 of Ecamm Advanced. I hope you've been getting some value out of these sessions, and for day 1 we obviously looked at the multi-cameras and using the camera switcher. Yesterday, as well as my sore throat, was screen sharing and bringing presentations into your Ecamm productions from Keynote and the like. Well, today we're going to be looking at interview mode and how you can bring other guests into your productions. And this is a really powerful feature, not just for one-to-one interviews, but actually for things like virtual conferences, remote production, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to be diving into today. And as always, there'll be a little challenge for you at the end. So today, the sort of agenda for this session is going to be, first of all, a brief look at interview settings. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything, but just sort of run through the settings that there are there. We'll then be looking at how to brand your links. I think that this is something that maybe some people aren't too aware that you can do, and it really adds an element of professionalism when you are inviting, people that you don't know, potential guests or clients or people like that onto your shows. It can really add a nice little touch to it. Then we're going to be looking at setting up scenes. Again, I'm not going to go over too much of the basics of scene settings, but just how to work with the interview guests in scenes. And then we'll really be focusing more on the actual experience as the host and also as the guest, because I think oftentimes people are so focused on, sending out the links and getting people on that they're not necessarily fully aware of what the guest experience is. And it's really important that the guest is briefed on this so that they know what to expect. It's just going to help things run a lot more smoothly. And obviously your aim as a host is to make your guests look as good as they can be, and to make sure that they're comfortable and at ease. So we'll be talking about that as well. Then we'll be looking at how to bring in guest presentations. So it's not just about having another person on screen with you. You can actually have them have a whole presentation that they deliver remotely through your Ecamm setup. So we'll be talking about that as well, exactly how to do that. And that leads into then remote production, because basically you do have the capability of being a remote producer and having, you might not even be on screen at all yourself, but just being the one that actually produces the event. And then we'll also be talking about that thing of preparing your guests based on everything that we talk about above. And there is obviously a download to go along with today's session, just as there is for every day. And if you just go ahead and register now, you'll get all the previous downloads and also today's as well. And this is really a large PDF today because it's going to go through pretty much step by step what I'm going through in this session, so that you will have that to refer back to as well, because there's lots of things to do with the settings and all of that kind of stuff in there that you're going to find useful, and specifically some checklists in there as well for you and for your guest as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And the first section then that we're going to talk about is going to be the actual interview settings. So we'll just take a little bit of a look at those interview settings, and then we'll sort of take it from there. So what I'm going to do is just go straight into my Ecamm Live's demo mode, so I can show you everything that's going on my screen. Wrong screen, this screen. Got to click into Ecamm on that screen. There we go. So the first place I'm going to go to is actually in the Ecamm Live settings down here. I should probably point out just before I do that the interview mode is in fact a pro feature, so you do need to be on the pro plan to do it. But then once you do, you'll see over on the right hand side, just over here, down at the bottom, you've got this little icon just here, which is Show and Hide Interview Mode panel. And so you're probably familiar, obviously, as an advanced user, that Ecamm is made up of all these panels. And so we have a dedicated panel here for interview mode. And we'll look into exactly how that works in a moment. But in the Ecamm Live preferences, there is also an interview section just down here as well. So if I come down to here to the interview section, then there are a few options. I'll just run through these really quickly. So play ring chime. This is how I have mine set up generally. So the first one is play ring chime. You're going to be sending out a link to your potential guests. And then when somebody uses that link and comes in, then you want it to obviously alert you to the fact that there's somebody there. So that's what that is for. You will get a notification in the actual interview mode window as well. But I tend to have this one on just so that I know that someone's calling in. Auto answer, so you can have people automatically answered to come into your production. Now, I tend to not have that on in things where I've got a publicly available sort of link, so I don't want people just randomly coming in if somebody happened to have the link. Not that I think that would happen too much with what I'm doing, but it is useful to have that auto answer sometimes. For example, I do a weekly podcast with a group of other creators called the Creators Pod, and the way that we've got that set up is that basically we just all sort of dial in at the same time, or the allotted time, and then we just automatically come into the Ecamm scene already in the right positions with our right names and everything on the screen. And the other thing about the auto answer is it means that if any one of us inadvertently drops off, an internet connection issue or something like that, then we're straight back in when we reconnect. So there is some very good use cases for using that auto answer, but just as a general rule for when I'm using it, I don't tend to have that one on. Next is send to Greenroom. So when you do answer somebody, do you want them to come straight into your production, or do you want them to go into this virtual green room? And we'll see what the virtual green room looks like in a little moment when we go through the full demo. And this next one here is lower music sound and movie sound for guests when in off-air mode. So off-air mode in this context basically means when you have got your Ecamm scenes set up, maybe you've got your intro scene, just like I had at the very beginning of here, where there's countdown music. The mics might be muted at that point, so that you can't, your sound is not going out into the production, and your interview guests are not going out into the production. And so in that sense, if both the interview mode guest and your audio were muted, that would be considered off-air audio. Same with if you were playing a movie or something, so you weren't physically both in the scene as well, that would be considered off-air mode as well. And so what this does then, if we come back to here, is if you have this one selected, so it says lower music and movie sound for guests when in off-air mode, what that basically does is it means that they are not hearing the full volume of the production. It means they're going to be able to hear you a lot better. It doesn't actually reduce the volume for you, though, as the host, because the idea is that you obviously want to be able to monitor what is going on. But that just makes it a little bit easier for the guest to potentially hear you over the sound of any movie that's playing or any music or anything like that. The next one is guest view, and here you can see it's selected as host camera. Actually, the other option in there is broadcast, and this is basically what is getting sent back to your guest on the other side in the browser. We'll see what this looks like in a moment, but basically you're choosing whether to send them just your camera feedback, so that it's kind of like a face-to-face conversation where they're just looking at you and they're not seeing any of the stuff that's going on in Ecamm. But if you have it select to broadcast, then what that's going to do is show them the entire production exactly as you've got it going out into your recording or your live stream. So ordinarily, I would have that set to broadcast because I think it's very useful for the guests to be able to see, when they're even in the scene, what's going on. If you're demonstrating, you obviously want them to be able to see what you're talking about as well. So I tend to have that always set to broadcast. But for the purposes of this demo today, I've actually switched it back to host camera. And the reason is because I'm going to be showing you what it looks like from the guest side and the host side. And so I don't want to create this sort of infinite loop of me demoing something that's then feeding back into the demo computer. So that's why I'm doing that today. So that is one set of settings that you can find in the actual preferences, the Ecamm preferences down here. But there's this other button just at the bottom which says customize interview settings. You can also get to that from this interview window. So let's talk about the interview window then for a little bit as well. Here you can see, incidentally, that setting that I was talking about, the guest view, and it says host camera. You can actually change which camera you're sending back to them. So here in this interview window, you can see that we can choose any of the cameras that's connected, and this is basically, there's no border on it, there's nothing else. It's just literally literally the camera, this is what would be going back to the guest. You could come in here and change your name as well if you want. And then there is also a big button to toggle it on as well. So that is the settings that you've got in the preferences. The next one then would be to look at the actual way that we can brand our links, and that's in another section of the settings that we'll look at now. So that little button that I mentioned down at the bottom of the screen, this customize interview settings, or you can access it from here, this little cog icon. Clicking on that is going to bring up some settings for your interview mode. And this is where you can actually create multiple different links if you've got different shows. So, for example, I have one for my podcast. I have one for my Take One Tech channel. I've got one that I'm just doing for today. I've got one for a couple of other things that I'm doing. And so you can actually create multiple different interview settings. So this option down here, create multiple or create new interview settings, that would just create a completely new set of these settings that we're going to look at now. I'll just come in and edit these ones for the time being, though, because I've already set some things up in here. So first of all, you are going to give this a page title. That is the title that will actually appear in the browser window when your guest clicks your link. And I should say, by the way, as well, ordinarily, when you're not streaming or recording, you will actually see your link down here. And this is a URL that you're going to give to somebody. When they click that link, it's going to take them through to interview mode. When you are live or recording, the link disappears so that it's not public when you are doing things like this in live demo mode. But ordinarily, that's where you would find the link, just down here. So let me come back into the settings then, and I'll run through a few more of these things. The next section here is two little places for a logo, and we'll see where these fit in the user experience, or the guest experience, I should say. So you can put an option for two separate logos depending on whether the browser that your guest is using is in dark mode or light mode. So you may want to change these depending on depending on how your logo is. And the next one here is what's called an open graph image. Now, this is something where you've probably seen this when somebody sent you a link before, and then maybe they've sent it in Facebook Messenger or in email or something like that, and you get a little thumbnail that pops up with it, and it'll look something like this. So if I'd sent this link out to somebody in via Messenger, for example, you can see that I've just pasted in, here's a link to join the live show. There's the link. Well, that little thumbnail that's appearing just up there, that is the open graph image. And you can also see there's a title associated with it as well, and that is the title that we've also just set as well. So that's just to show you how this comes across from a branding point of view. And it's a really nice way, as I say, to just add a little bit of branding element to your links when you are sending them out. Obviously, you can see here the actual URL. So this one happens to be clicktojoin.us. In actual fact, we've got a few different options that we can use for the link. The default is going to be an Ecamm Live link. So it's got Ecamm in the name. You may want to have something a little bit more generic, though. And so you do get the option here to actually choose from one of these: BeMyGuest.tv, CallMeNow.tv, Call My Show, all of these. So you can basically choose which you want. And a little tip here is that actually whatever one of these you use, they will actually all still work as long as you've got the right sort of slug at the end of it. So what I mean by that is the unique code. If I bring that little example up, you can see here it says clicktojoin.us, and then there's a slash, and then there's a little series of characters. So that series of characters will work on any one of those links. But I digress there, because basically you're going to choose the one that works best for you. But what you can also do, though, is you may want to brand these links further. So then you could use something like a URL redirect on whatever service you use, or wherever you've got your web host. So you might have something like, in my case, it might be takeonetech.io/live or something like that. And then it can redirect to this link. So if you want to add even more sort of personalized branding, but to be able to just sort of make those changes there, I think is quite a nice little touch that you can choose from one of these other URLs. Next, though, down in the bottom here, we've got some other options. So the first one is to default to dark mode. So as we'll see in the browser, when your guest is in the browser joining, they can toggle dark mode on and off in their browser window. The reason why you may want to default to dark mode, though, is because obviously, if someone's got a big screen in front of them and they've got a big white light source, i.e. their browser, it can actually, put a lot of reflection onto their face, or rather a lot of bright light onto their face. So you may actually want to have it forced to be dark so that you don't get any sort of unwanted glare or things like that, especially if they're wearing glasses. Maybe it might be reflecting off those. So that's the reason for that one there. Next is show viewer comments. So when you are streaming, obviously we see the number of viewers and the viewer comments as well. So you can choose whether or not you want your guests to see that. There's also an option here to allow private chat. So as well as having the live stream chat, and you can choose whether you want them to see that or not, there is also a private chat as well, which you can have access to, have a sort of back channel to talk between you and the guest, or indeed multiple guests if you have got other guests on there as well. The next one is turning off audio processing for guests, known as musician mode. And that is basically going to do something a little bit similar to what you're perhaps familiar with in Zoom, where you've got original sound. It's basically going to turn off a lot of that audio processing. It's going to turn off echo cancellation and things like that. So do use this, at your own risk, because it's basically going to, turn off all the things it's doing to try and improve your guests' audio quality. And whilst you may be in control of your own audio quality, depending on who you're interviewing, that one is to be used with caution. I have left it on for the time being, though, and the reason is because I also want to show you that if you do have that one toggled on, it says down here, it will also give the option for stereo audio. So we'll see how that is going to look from the guest's side. So that is the settings in here. If you want to ever reset your link, so let's say, for example, I made a link public that I didn't want to be public or something like that, you can always just come down here and reset this link. And then what that's going to do is that is going to reset that little link that I put up on the screen. So it just reset the little sort of URL there, the sort of ending of it as well. And then you can also obviously just delete in here as well, as it says. You can delete all of the settings there as well if you want to do that. So that is it in terms of the settings. This is going to be part of the challenge, though, today, is to add this branding. It does tell you the size of these, so the pixels, the size in pixels, 1200 by 630. So if you just got a graphic like that, it does just add a nice little touch to your branding of your links that you're sending out. Before I move into running through all of the sort of process now to how this fits in terms of what the guest sees and the guest experience, we're going to be setting up some scenes. So before we do that as well, I'm just going to touch on the questions just to see if there's anything that is relevant to this that we've talked about. I'll just say again, put the Q colon, and the reason for that is, as the people in the chat are saying, it means that when you start your comment with a Q followed by a colon, in Ecamm, I can do this really great thing of just searching and filtering. So when I filter that, I just only see the questions then. And so like yesterday, I think there was a few that I'd few questions I'd missed because they didn't have that format. So it really does help to put that Q colon, and now I'm just seeing a list of all of those questions. So any that are just generic about, things like the downloads and stuff, I will leave that to Katie and Paul. So let me have a look what we've got in here. The podcast that I mentioned is called the Creators Pod. If you search for Creators Pod, you will find it that way. When we set up different pages for different shows, does that affect the Stream Deck it's connected to? If you've got a profile in Ecamm, the profile will be linked to the Stream Deck. So if you've got two profiles for two different shows, then you would need to have a separate set of buttons for the separate shows because, those are seen as separate things. So just a little tip there, by the way. In Stream Deck, you can create multi-actions. And so what I have is like a home screen on my Stream Deck, which is just a bank of buttons that are my home screen. And then I have a multi-action. And in the multi-action, it does two things, amongst others. It switches profile on my Stream Deck, and it also switches profile on Ecamm. So when I want to go and record my Take One Tech videos, for example, I press a button, it changes to the correct profile for all my buttons on Stream Deck at the same time as it does for Ecamm. Now, the interview settings are available wherever, whichever profile you're in. It will remember a lot of the settings on a profile by profile basis. But for example, even though now I'm technically in my Ecamm Advanced profile in Ecamm, I can still just come into the settings here. Let me just show you this. I can still come in here and I could pick any one of these. So the Ecamm will remember the interview settings that you had set last for that profile, but you can always come and change it in here or create a new one if you want to do that as well. So this one, Michael is saying, how did I get all the all sources? I'm not sure what that one's referring to, actually. The all sources window up. I'm not sure what which window that is. My mind's having a blank about that. I'll give that some more thought. Tatiana, hi there. Now that Alec mentioned dark mode, does Ecamm have a way to change all menu settings to dark or some different mode from contrast? There is a way to change the contrast, but I'm forgetting what it is right now. It's actually a max setting, I think, to change the contrast of the windows. But there's no sort of light or dark in that respect. The light or dark I was referring to was the actual browser of the guest, but we'll come to that in a moment. Is there an intercom for communicating with guests? There isn't an intercom like an audio intercom, but there is this back channel that we'll see in a moment, which is the chat. How are you bringing the? So that's just an Ecamm thing. Just click on the chat message, and it will pop up on the screen. So that's how that works. I can quickly show you if I bring my chat over here. So I've got all of the chat now. It looks massive on this screen, because I've reduced the resolution, but you can see anything that I click on here, it will just pop up on the screen just like that. So yeah, simple as that. Okay, so let's move on then, and I will take us into the setting up the scenes, because that's going to be the next section. I'm not going to go into too much depth about scenes and scene layouts and all of that kind of stuff, but I do just want to sort of mention the way that you can build out your scenes in advance of having your interview guests on. So let me come over to my demo mode. I'm going to be in and out of this all day today. So again, click in the right monitor. So what we'll do is we'll just build a couple of scenes, or in fact, we'll just come and build an initial one here. So I've got a blank scene. I mentioned yesterday and the day before, I always prefer to start with a completely blank canvas. You can have a scene source being a camera. I always, like I say, start with just a blank and then build out the scene exactly as I want it. So here, we already saw in the camera switcher section, the way you can just drag on cameras and position them on the screen. I could change the shape of this. So that's set to camera A. The shape, I could make it, let's do this squircle for a change. It's slightly rounded cornered square. There we go. I can put that wherever I want it on the screen. Another little thing here is if you hold down the option and then drag any overlay, it will actually duplicate it. So now I've got two of me, but then they're exactly the same size. And sort of position, I can get them exactly on the same line there, and then hit the little pencil icon, and here we can choose guest 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're on Intel, if you're on Apple Silicon, then you'll see now you can have up to 10 guests. Now you may think 10 guests, that's going to be a lot of people on screen. I don't really want 10 people on screen at once in a live production or something like that. The power of having 10 guests, though, is not necessarily for them to all be on screen at the same time. It's for having up to 10 people in the waiting room at any given time, in the green room. So you might only have like 2 or 3 or 4 on a scene at any given time, but you can have another group coming in. Especially useful if you're doing virtual conferences and things like that, where you want to have like certain speakers coming up and then maybe a panel discussion and another panel discussion coming after. You can have people dialed in and ready to go without actually being on the screen. So for the time being, though, I'm just going to select guest 1, and you can see that it's gone transparent here, but it does tell us that guest 1 is there. And so this is basically as simple as it gets in terms of setting up a scene for 2 people, you and a guest. So I'm not going to go into all scene layouts and creating other scenes. You can imagine what you can do with it. We'll look at a couple of other examples a little bit later. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do for now. One thing I'll just highlight whilst we are on this screen, though, is you can see up at the top, that we've got the view account there. And then also the number of likes and things like that. But then we've also got the comments over on the other side. So when I mentioned before about the view account, it's whether you or not you want to actually show that to your guests. So with that said, let's actually take a look at what the guests are going to see. I'm going to come out from this particular scene for a moment. And then, let's take a look at what the guest is going to see on their computer. Now, what I've done is I've actually set up another computer and just simulating a guest experience so that I'm in control of it and I can test it all out before. So what I'll do is I'll just take you over to that computer now. And here is my imaginary friend. So here we are on Isabella's laptop. And basically, I've given the link here, hypothetically. And so here is the link that we just created, or the one that we've branded up. And one thing you'll notice is that it says here in the tab, so this is in a Google Chrome tab, it says Ecamm Advanced Demo, because that's the name that we gave it in those settings. And then also down here, you'll see that we've got the little logo that we created. And then also you'll see down at this bottom corner, we got the option to switch between light and dark mode. And then this is where this little logo down here would switch between one and the other, depending on, how you would set those up. So that's just to show you where those two specific things relate. We've seen where the open graph image relates to the link you're sending out, and then the logo, that's where it's going to appear, just down at the bottom. Now, when they first go into the browser and they first go to this link, it may well ask them to give the browser permission to access their microphone and camera. So we'll talk about the sort of process that you're going to go through with your guests and prepping them for this, but that is something for them to be aware of. You want people to, if they're going to be a guest on your show, you want people to come on beforehand, potentially, another day beforehand, so that it's not just turning up on the day and having to troubleshoot things at the last minute. Have a little trial run, especially if you're not experienced with it as well, so that you can get these things ironed out. Because if they've been in once and given permission and everything's working, then likely it'll work the following day. Same with screen sharing. We'll talk about screen sharing. They have to give access to that as well. And we'll probably see that, because I don't think I've done that in this particular case. So then they're presented with this thing here. Now, this image, by the way, is actually a dummy camera that I've set up. So this is what they would see when they go in and they select their camera. So they'll just choose from any of their cameras. And that's what they'll see there. So imagine that this is my guest, and that is what they're seeing from their camera. And then you can select or they can select their microphone as well. So you can choose that. Now, if you remember when I talked about the advanced audio settings, or the musician mode, I said that it gave the option for stereo audio. And when you do have that option selected in your settings as the host, your guest will also see this little option here. It's a little toggle that they can toggle between stereo and mono. They've then got a space here. It says, hello, my name is, and they've got a space to enter their name. So if they just type something in here, as soon as they've put their name in, you'll notice that the little join button appears, and that they can then they can click to join whenever they are ready. So they can get themselves all prepped, get their camera and everything like that set up, and then at the allotted time, they can basically just click join, and then it will join. So what's going to happen is, as soon as I do that, it's going to say connecting. And what I should see on my side, and let's see if this works as a tech demo. I don't know if you heard that, but there was a little chime in my ear. Maybe the mic picked it up. But if I come over to my my other screen now, so I'll come back out of this and come into demo mode. What you can see now is I've got this little thing here flashing to tell me that, and then that's the name that they entered. Isabella is joining, and I've got the little cross to hang up on them, or to answer the call. So this is basically the process of somebody calling in. And as I said before, if you don't want to have the little chime that's going to come through, then you can obviously always just see it like this. This window is obviously expandable, because you can have up to 10 people. Obviously, then this could potentially be filled up with people. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to answer the call. And if you remember, the setting that we had down here was send guests to Greenroom. And what that means is if I click on this, I'm going to answer the call. I'm now seeing their camera feed, and it says guest is in Greenroom. They're muted, so if they were speaking, you wouldn't be able to hear them. But I can crucially see them in there. Now, you've got a couple of options in terms of bringing them into Ecamm. I mentioned before about this idea of using scene source as a camera versus starting with a blank scene and building out with overlays. The example that I gave you earlier with that scene, in fact, let's just go back to that scene that I created. This one, there I'm using overlays. Had I got a scene source as a camera, that's where the camera basically just takes over the entire screen. Now, if you're doing it like that, then you've got the option down here to basically add this person into your production, either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, if you're using the scene source as a camera, or you can just take them full screen into Ecamm. I don't use any of these 3 buttons here because I always use these basically guest placeholder cameras. And so what I do is I would click on assign, and then I would just choose the place where I want to put them. So I'm going to put them at guest 1. So if I click on guest 1, then they've now popped straight into my Ecamm scene. So that's the way that I work with guests. I always just have a scene set up with different people in different places. What that means is you can then go through and build out different scenes. Let's say you've got 2 people. Maybe you might want to make a separate scene that's for up to 3 or 4 or 5. You could have multiple different scenes, and then as more people join, if it's like a sort of an open free-for-all live stream, as I know many live streamers have had, then you could have a scene already made up for that. And so if somebody else comes in, you could switch to the scene with 3 people, add them as guest 2, move to the scene with 4 people, add them to guest 3, and so on. So you can just add in multiple different people. And then you can always see in here which guest number someone is assigned to. And you can always just come and change that from there. One thing that you also have in here, though, is you also have the ability to change all of the camera settings for this person as well. And this is great for if somebody's coming in without, great lighting or anything like that. Then you just come down to the camera switcher, click on the little magic wand icon, and now I'm making adjustments to their camera. So I could come and do any sorts of things you can do in here. I mean, you could go as far as adding LUTs and stuff like that. We won't go into those today. That looks terrible, but you get the idea. All of the basic features that you've got in terms of adjusting color, adjusting tones and all of that kind of stuff, you can do all of that in here as well. One thing that is really useful about this, though, which I often find, so I have a podcast that I do that's an interview podcast with people coming in aside from that's called the Live Streamer Backstage podcast. With that one, there's guests coming in, and sometimes we're not sort of in the right sort of framing in the shots, in our respective shots. So you can also click on the zoom and pan down here, and then you can zoom in, and then you can pan around as well. I think I'm not actually adjusting it for the correct one. I need to come to guest 1, I beg your pardon, like that. So now I can zoom in, and you can see I can move and zoom and pan around to get them positioned just exactly right in the shot. So yeah, it's really great to be able to make those sorts of adjustments. The other thing that you're going to want to be looking at with your guests then is also the guest audio quality, or rather the actual guest audio levels. You will see, if I just move the preferences out of the way, in the Ecamm sound levels window, you've got your mic, you've got movie and sound effects, and you also have interview here. Now, this is a sort of global interview audio level, so you can make adjustments here as you need to. But also on an individual guest, you can also make adjustments here. So obviously, people may not be coming in at all the same levels, and so you might want to make those adjustments between them. Another little great tip here is if you are using a Stream Deck Plus, whoops-a-daisy, wrong button. If you are using a Stream Deck Plus, as ever, Ecamm has got one of the best Stream Deck plugins in my estimation, just because of the sheer number of controls. You can control almost anything in Ecamm with Stream Deck. Well, with the Stream Deck Plus, you've got dials here, and you can actually assign a dial to each individual interview guest. So it means that you can basically adjust the audio, the volume of each individual guest. And the way that these dials work on the Stream Deck Plus is, although there are 4 dials, you've got these things that basically you can cycle between different levels. So I can click this button here, and it will cycle between a whole series of different volumes. So you could basically have 10 guests on one dial and just sort of tap through and change to the particular guest whose volume you want to adjust, and adjust it that way. So that's the way that you'll be sort of bringing people in and answering the calls and things like that from the host point of view. We probably need to look, though, at how it's going to look from the guest point of view, because we still haven't actually done that. So let's go back over to the guest. And what you'll see on the guest side is because I, if you recall, selected that I wanted to send back my camera feed to my guest, that's what they're seeing in their browser now. They can see their own little thumbnail there of their own picture. They can see my camera feed coming back. If I had selected to send the broadcast back, they would see the entire broadcast. And that's what I would generally recommend. In this demo today, it would mean we would get this sort of infinite loop of things because I'd be sending back to it exactly what I'm putting out to you. So that's why I've just done it this way. But you get the idea about the interface, though. A few more things about the interface. They have got access to settings here, so you can click on settings to go and just change the camera or anything like that. There's also the option in here, click on done. There's also the option in here to switch. So if they find it easier to sort of talk to themselves, if it's a big production with lots of things going on, they might find it easier to be actually just, looking and talking to themselves if there's not some specific person on the other side. So if so, they can do that. If they find it less of a distraction, if they're not used to sort of watching the live show that they're in. So I'll just toggle that one back for the time being, though. And then you can also just mute from here as well. Then there's screen share, and then there is a hang up signal as well. My throat issues returning right on cue. You can also see down here that it says on the air, you are in the broadcast. So that lets them know that obviously they're on air and they're live. So if they're not muted, then they just need to be aware of that. And then it says, host has turned off audio processing for this session. Headphones are strongly recommended. And that's because of that thing that I mentioned about, turning on that audio for musicians. Again, I wouldn't recommend that actually if you are not working with somebody who is knowing what they're doing and has a good audio setup. But just if you do have that enabled, then they're going to get that little warning there. And then here is where they can toggle the dark mode off, as I mentioned. I also did turn on the chat. So there we'll see up in this top corner, there is a little speech bubble, and you can actually see it's got a little red dot next to it, meaning that there is chat. So if they click on that, they're now basically seeing all of the chat that you are putting into the chat right now. And then up at the top here, there is also an option for guest chat. And that's this thing of this back channel that I was talking about. So if I come back over to my computer for a second, and I'll show you where this is. Back into demo mode. So in the interview window, you've got this little chat bubble here, show chat window, and that is basically your interview chat. So that is where the messages between just you and your guests are going to go. So if I just type in hi, then that message will go over to my guest. So out of demo mode, come back here, you'll see that that message should pop up in here. And of course, it's not quite come up. Let me type a message. Oh, there we go. It's just a little bit of a delay. There we go. So I'll put one back from here. And that will drop the message in. And so then I can see that back on my screen as well. So coming back over here. So that just means that you've got a little way to have a sort of back channel between you and the other people that are in the interview. And then at some point when you want to hang up, then you just click the little button here to hang up on them, or obviously they can hang up from their side as well. So I'm going to go into actually using this to bring in presentations and using the screen share feature in a moment as well. I will just check in with the chat though, just to make sure that there's any questions that need to be covered on what I've covered so far, that I do get to them. So the question about the available hours, this may have been answered, but yeah, you do have a limit on the number of hours. You can purchase more hours from there. So that is on a monthly basis. And it's, I believe it starts from, whenever your thing starts, your monthly subscription or annual or whatever, it will just sort of renew every time then. I forget what the amount is every month, but yeah, you can always purchase more of those as well. And it will say, in fact, if I just come over to here, so if I click on that, you have 19 hours of interview time remaining. And then it tells us the additional time, and you can add time to it this way as well. So that is just a limit on the sort of the total amount of time that you can have per month, but you can always add more to that. how am I getting my background image in a blank scene? Oh, right. So yeah, when you have scene source as blank, so if I come into demo mode again, when you have a scene source as a blank scene, so I'm going to create a new scene, I've got the default scene source to be blank. So when I create a new scene, it does automatically start with no camera or anything like that in it. But then just down in the background here, in the overlays rather, there's 3 sections for overlays. Show in all scenes, which means it will be at the top of everything. And that's got your that latest comment just up there. Show in current scene is going to be only specific to that scene that you happen to be in. But then show in background is going to show in every scene, including any new ones that you create as well. And so that's why that sort of background image there is in there. And that's a great way to just sort of add a little bit of branding to something, is to have a consistent image in the background all the time that is just there in every scene. And I need to go back to this one. There we go. How would you use multiple guests for a webinar or summit, or do multiple speaker events another way? That is exactly what we'll be coming on to that in a moment, actually. So yeah, you can totally do that, Bianca. And that's a great way to use interview mode. Could I please repost the grid overlay of yesterday's scenes? Yeah, so I can do that. I've got a link to that here. I think. I'm sure somebody can get it. There you go, scene layout. I'll just drop it in there. It comes, because I'm streaming through Ecamm channel, it's going to look like Ecamm, but it's actually me that's posted it. So sorry if that was confusing anybody yesterday. So are there any Zoom issues when running interviews? So presumably you mean going into Zoom. This is another great feature of using Ecamm as an accompaniment to Zoom. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about using the virtual camera and the virtual mic, and having this ability to basically have a sort of production with speakers and then take that into Zoom is just a great solution, because it means you could be running like a workshop or an event or a webinar or something like that, where you want to bring up different speakers that are maybe located elsewhere, and you can bring them into Ecamm using all of Ecamm's great production values and then putting that into Zoom. So we'll talk about that though specifically tomorrow, if you want to do any two-way audio or bring people from the Zoom up into the production as well. There's a few technicalities there, but yeah, we'll cover that more so tomorrow, if that's okay. Will one guest see personal messages or all messages? So it is like a group chat feature, that one. So the interview chat is like a group chat. Is there a workaround for audio intercom for guests? There's a few solutions for this, actually. The names of them are completely escaping me. There's a really popular one that is on the tip of my tongue. I'll have to get back to that. But yeah, there's one that is Unity is what it's called, Unity Intercom, and that's yeah, an audio sort of back channel for exactly that. When I say, so hi, Bill, I just realized I looked at the name, but I just saw the face. Hi, Bill. When you say that turning on the audio processing for guests is to be used with caution, the text box says turn off. So the safer setting, yeah, to be unchecked. Yeah, just to be clear about that. Let me come back to the setting here. I'll just show you in this. So yeah, it's this one. When you check it, you are turning off the audio processing. So actually, the best I would recommend for most people is to actually leave this unchecked, i.e. it's the default, which is the audio processing is on. So yeah, it's you're checking it to turn it off, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, but I see why they've done it that way. So that's what that means. Yeah, good question, Bill. I'm glad you prompted me on that one. Sometimes my guest audio, let me get this one up. Sometimes guest audio recording comes through only on the left or right speaker. I fix by toggling that lower music option. No, I mean, it can sometimes be, it depends how it is on the guest side. I'm not sure of anything, I might be wrong about this, but I'm not sure of anything that's specifically in Ecamm that might be causing that. I think it's usually something on their end, although there is something. I'm trying to think now. I remember a live stream with Doc Rock about 1.5 years ago where there was some thing that came up with some microphones. I'm going to have to defer on this one. I don't know offhand, I'm afraid. Yes, so this question sort of leads us right into this. If guest sharing presentation, can we do guest video and PowerPoint side by side? So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about, and it probably is a great time to actually start with that. I'll come back to some of these other questions. I appreciate I've missed some others, but I'll just crack on and then come back to those in a moment. So let's just sort of segue right into this then. So yeah, we are talking about this ability to bring in guest presentations, because what you do have on the guest side is they can share their screen. So let's hop back over to our virtual guest's computer here. You'll notice that I've completely frozen on here for the time being. Let's just ignore that terrible expression that I've got there. But in the guest computer, you'll see that there is an option. In fact, let's just get that ugly mug off the screen like that. Here you can see that there is an option down at the bottom for screen share. So what you could do on the guest side then is, if I just move this browser window out of the way, you'll see that I've cunningly hidden behind here, and I'll just hide the chat as well so it gives a bit more space on screen. I've actually got a little keynote presentation in here, and I've got two different slide types just to show you how this is going to work. But basically what you would do is, if you were bringing somebody in to give a presentation, like in a workshop or as in a virtual conference or something like that, so you're going to have a series of speakers coming in and giving their presentations, then what you do is instruct them to share their presentation, either in a window, or if they've got multiple monitors, they could share it in a monitor. But I'm just going to say to this one, play in window. So it's going to play this presentation. So now I've got a keynote presentation playing in window. And if you saw what we did yesterday with presentations, it's going to be a similar sort of thing here. But this is basically the guest is now sharing it. So they're going to click on here to screen share. And it's going to give a few options, either the entire screen, or they can share a window, or if they're in Chrome, it will actually give them the option to share a specific Chrome tab. So it may be that they're in the, using Chrome to be in the call, but they want to share something on a website. I mean, you could use this for sharing anything. As you can see, they could share their desktop, they could share an Excel file, whatever it is. But from the point of view of doing presentations, let's just focus on that one a little bit, because it gets quite interesting here. Then we'll go to window. And then you can see it's got different windows. So I'm going to pick this one, which is the presentation, and then click share like this. Obviously, this is the guest that is doing all of this. And what you'll see from the guest side now is they've now got this little thumbnail down here to say that they're sharing. It says just down here, probably the contrast is a little bit out. You can't see it, maybe so small. But here it says stop sharing. So that's how they can stop sharing their screen as well. But if I come back over to my screen, then here what you'll see is that now in the interview window, you'll notice that as well as the guest, we've also got the guest's screen share. And here you can do a couple of things. If you were using the scene source as a camera, as we talked about before, then they can be either soloed, or you can have them go full screen with their screen share with a picture-in-picture. But as I always say, I prefer to just sort of build these scenes out from scratch. So and use overlays to do it. So I have actually prepared a couple of scenes. The first scene that I pre-prepared was this one with me and the guest coming in. But then I've also prepared another one, which is basically me and the guest. But then I've got another guest placeholder, and I've just used the guest 2 placeholder. Well, if I come into the interview window and then assign their screen share to be guest 2, then their presentation now is suddenly taking up that whole screen. And what the guest can do then is on their computer. So just imagine that our guest here is got their keynote slides open on their computer, and they are just going to go through and deliver their slides. So we might both be on screen like this. It could be that I'm not on the screen. It's just them delivering it. But all of the versatility you've got in Ecamm in terms of laying out, scenes, you can use your imagination at what you could do with that. It could well be that this is just a single speaker and their slides. And that comes back to this idea of virtual conferences. You could have a whole series of speakers lined up in the green room with all of their things being shared. And then when it's their time, you just flick to their scene. And then there they are in the scene with them and their slides, and they can just deliver their presentation. What you might also want to do, though, is if you recall yesterday, if I just come out of that, and I probably should have shown you what that looked like full screen out of demo mode as well. So let's just quickly pop back to that. I think you probably got the idea, but there you go. But what you might want to do is, if you remember yesterday, we looked at 3 different ways of bringing slides in, and I kind of said, well, I'm not too much for this idea of, standing off to one side and the slides are over the other side. It's a little bit too much like, the old school way of standing next to a projector screen or something like that. Much better if the people are sort of more integrated into the slides themselves. So if you are doing something like a virtual conference, having a template or something that you can send out to people in advance that they can use so that they're positioning their things on screen without having, or rather leaving a place for them to be actually in the slides. So what you might want to do is have them use a slide format that looks something a little bit more like this. If I go over to the guest again. So if I go to the next slide in this sequence, what I've got here is a little bit like we looked at yesterday, where this slide has got a clear space over on the right-hand side where their camera could go. And so what I've done then back on my computer is I've basically created a scene which is the slides taking up the whole of the background, and then the speaker's camera is right there over the top of the slides. And it makes for a much more immersive experience, I think, when they are, sort of seem like they're sort of more in the slides, as it were. And they become a sort of part of it as opposed to stepped off to the side and talking about it. And so, if they've got this format and you give them that and, in advance, especially if you're doing like a longer virtual conference or something where you want to have some consistency to the look and feel, then you could create obviously your own template for all of this and then have everyone come in, their speakers, and they're doing all of this on their side. All you're doing is just sort of switching the scenes for them to go from one speaker to the next, but all of their presentation they are in full control of. So I think that this is a great feature to be able to do this, and that comes back to the question that we had about virtual conferences and how you can use this. Let me just check on some of these questions as well, because I think this might have sparked a couple. Let's have a look. Can guests share another camera? So no, they've only got the one camera and then the screen share. If they were going to do multiple cameras, I would recommend get an affiliate link for Ecamm and send them an affiliate link for Ecamm so that they can have Ecamm on their side, because they can just use a virtual cam if they're going to do camera switching and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, they can't add another camera in there. So yeah, that's that. Can you share an iPad or an iPhone? You can't share an iPad or an iPhone in here. No, I don't think it comes up. It's a good question. I'm just sort of double check myself here. I don't think it will show up in the sharing unless it was coming through the Mac. In which case it might do that way on their side. But just as a default, it wouldn't necessarily. Incidentally, interview mode, the link will work on an iPad or an iPhone as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about preparing your guests. Highly recommend coming in on a desktop, but technically it would work just, actually using interview mode on an iPad or tablet, but wouldn't necessarily recommend that just because it's in the browser. Can you rename the placeholder names for guests? So I'll take that name, thanks. Alec the Amazing. Yeah, you don't name the actual placeholders themselves, but the name of the person does obviously appear in the interview window. Let me just show you what I'm talking about rather than just saying it. Yeah, you can see the person's name in here, but those placeholders, no, it's going to be camera 1, 2, and 3. You can't actually rename those that way. Yeah, and incidentally, these names, it's just what you see. You may well want to go ahead and put actual name tags on. Obviously, you can do that with text overlays so that you can name, put names on the screen for them as well. But I'm not going to go through all of that specifically today. Does the guest screen share appear as a separate ISO? It does indeed, because where's that comment gone? Sorry, it's just dropped off. Yeah, it does. So because it's coming in as a camera, it is in effect going to show up as a separate isolated video file. And this is a good point to talk about. We talked about the multiple cameras and earlier on in the week on day one, and we talked about isolated video, this ability to record individual videos as well as your sort of main production. So yes, indeed, you are going to be able to record individual interview guests, and as you've assigned an interview guest to a guest placeholder and you've assigned their screen share to a guest placeholder as well, you would have a separate video for that. It's a really good point, that is, actually, because it means that you've got that extra separation. If they're doing some sort of immersive presentation where they're in the presentation, you do still have them separate, for if you just want to make some short form content or something like that for out of what the speakers are saying as well. So can the presentation be controlled by both the host and the guest? Not the way that I've just shown it. So that is basically them essentially running the presentation themselves on their computer. You could obviously have it where you have them send you the presentation and you're in control of doing it, or you have somebody in control of doing it, but it's a kind of either or thing. But I think obviously the benefit of having somebody delivering the content and being in control of their own slides is going to be I would have thought the best option. So Bill, the open graph image, the illustration of it contained in the URL at the top, is that done automatically, or was it an illustration separately composed? Yeah, so that is basically you create that image. So if I come back to this section, so the different areas here, you've got a title. This image you would need to create, and then the logo, obviously, you would create that as well. But as soon as you send out the link, then that will automatically add those things in. So it was a case of when I sent out this little Facebook message, the image that I've uploaded in Ecamm and the title automatically appear in there. Could you demonstrate how to assign guest screen share in our side scene again? Yeah, sure. So that is basically, I come out of here for a second, close this one down. So if I go into that, where was that one that we created? This new scene side by side. And let me get that little overlay off as well. Let's say that we want to do it in here, shall we? I'll just make this one smaller, like this. Make the guest smaller. These can all align up. And then what I can do is basically just add in another camera overlay, because although it's a screen share, we've assigned it to a guest slot, and the guest slots are all cameras. So it might seem a little bit counterintuitive to be adding a camera in, but that's what it is. And then I would just come and select in here, guest 2, and you can see it says what it is. It's the screen. So if I click on that, then that's how we've got those slides in. So that's how that's working. So this was more for this kind of slide with an old school slide over to the side. The one that I made where it was full screen, what I did with that one was I basically just made this full screen, and I could have actually done the scene source here as a camera, but made that full screen, basically take off the border, take off the rounded corners. Now that's in front of everything. I'll just advance these slides and I'll move it down in the overlays window. So just to show you what I'm doing there, sorry if this is a bit small. This works like a stack. So whatever's lower down is going to be on the bottom, if you think of it as a stack of layers, and whatever is up at the top is going to be on the top. So this camera A just happens to be, or this camera 2 here, that is the guest. Camera A is me, and guest 1 is there. So now you can see the way that those are stacked up. And then if I go over to that other slide, this one here, what you would do is just maybe get rid of me and then put the guest over on this side. So that's how easy it is to just sort of build this out. There was a few questions and comments about the A10 Mini we were talking about the other day, and what's the advantage? And I said the versatility of Ecamm to be able to move these things around is it's just a real game changer compared to the way you have to do it with coordinates and stuff on the A10. So just to follow up on that point, the way that you can quickly create scenes in here, thinking, oh, maybe actually we want this up here, maybe we want to change the shape of it, let's just change the shape completely, maybe make it tall, something like that instead, and then change the position of the guest. maybe make them a bit smaller, a bit bigger. The way that you can just do this so quickly is just unbelievable compared to other potential solutions out there. So let me come back to my main scene. Yet guests could send their presentation to host, who could then control it and even put their camera inside. Yeah, obviously, all the stuff we talked about yesterday with presentations, your guests could be sending you their presentation and you create the scenes and then just running them that way. What lights am I using? They're Nanlite. I actually had a few questions about this, so what I'll perhaps do is just make a little video of the setup and then post that into the community rather than going through it here. That is a great question. Can your guests use green screen and then put in a background for them? Yes, they can. And I'm really glad you mentioned that because, all of the camera effects settings you can apply to guests. And you could actually go one step further and have guests. I think we need to do a demo of this in the Ecamm group. But you could have guests come in on green screen. You could have a green screen yourself, and you could have you both sat next to each other in a studio because you're just doing the keying out. And just to explain how you would do that, if you come into here where your guest is coming in, let me just. I'm going to have to. Actually, I'll do a demo of this and I'll put it into the group. But what I will do here is I'll just show you. Imagine that our guest here had a green screen behind her. I would add a camera in like this. I would change that to be our guest, like that. And then imagine that they have got a green screen, as I say. You could put them over here and then come down into the camera effects. And in the camera effects, you literally just have all of the same things. So you could just toggle on green screen here for that guest. Oh, scene is locked. And then, you could actually put them transparent so that they appear directly next to you. There we go. Hopefully that has all resumed. My stream just stopped there because of an audio issue, it said. So 1 second, let me get rid of that. Hopefully I am back up and running and you can all hear me. Let me just double check. I'll just come out of my question comments. There we go. Just double checking. I'll wait for a confirmation that I'm actually back. It looks like I am. Let's have a little look. Have we come back? Got to wait for the YouTube latency. I think it's back up. There we go. Yeah. Apologies about that. By the way, for those that don't know, I'm actually in Thailand, so I'm probably on the opposite side of the world to most of you. So these things, I'm probably on the opposite side of the world to most of you. So these things happen. Anyway, let's get back to it, and I'll bring the questions back up. So yes, you can green screen your guest was the answer to that. Let's crack on then with that little technical glitch out of the way. So then we talk about remote production because we're talking here about bringing in your guests. But you could literally just be not hosting it at all. You could just be bringing in guests, or you might be running something where you want somebody else to deal with the technicalities of running the show for you, and you are the host, and you want to be, have someone else running it for you, and have your other guests coming in. The podcast that I mentioned, the Creators Pod. In actual fact, the way that we do that, because there is 6 of us that are in the group, and Rich, our friend Rich Graham, who you'll probably see in the chat most days here and there, but he actually runs 2 computers, both running Ecamm on his side, and then one of them is just the one that records everybody, and we all then dial in to that computer, and he dials in from, he's got the 2 computers next to each other, but it means that he's running Ecamm on both of them. One of them is running the actual show. The other one he's using for virtual camera, but he's also recording another isolated audio from that, and it's allowing us to record, all of us record our own isolated audio in 4K as well. But then we've also got the Ecamm localized isolated audio. So we're sort of belt and braces and got 2 options there as a backup. So yeah, you might want to have someone actually running the podcast. We were all very privileged to be on The Flow, the Ecamm podcast, and it was really a great experience as a guest to be on that, because Mr. Camera Junkie, who you've probably seen about the place as well, Lewis, he was the live producer. So when we all called in, we got put through to him. He got us all squared away, got us made sure that all our audio levels were correct and everything like that. And then he was actually running the show on his side, with Katie and Doc obviously hosting and so on. So there are some real sort of options here from a point of view of live production. I know there are many people in the community who offer this as a service to people, where they are, offering remote production as a service to, run people's events and things like that. And you can see how that works now. You can bring in people, you can bring in their presentations, and you don't necessarily have to be on screen. So it's a great way to do that. So I'm going to run through a little bit of a checklist, and as I mentioned before, there are downloads associated with all of these days. So even if you're just picking up today, definitely go and register, because you'll get the downloads, and you can always go and watch the replays. But the download today includes full instructions on all of the things that I've been going through, but it also includes a couple of little checklists for you as well. So let me just sort of bring that up. So all the stuff that I've talked about today is all really detailed in here. So in terms of what your guests are going to see, and all of that kind of stuff, what the process is for logging in, and how to do that. So it's a really detailed sort of manual really for using interview mode. But as we go down towards the bottom, what you'll find is this bit, preparing your guests for interview. And it's really important that they are prepared, because you want to make sure that, they are shown to their best, but also so that, it's going to have the best effect on your production as well. So there's a lot in there about, how to prepare them. And one of the things to prepare them for, in fact, I've made this the sort of last big bullet at the bottom, right down here. A final crucial word on interview mode is, interview mode is not going to be a replacement for things like Zoom. I wouldn't recommend using this as a meeting platform. I know there's been people in the community before have asked, could we use this instead of Zoom or Teams or things like that? It's not really designed for that. Ecamm is live production software, and the interview mode is for bringing people into that live production. And because of that way of thinking and that sort of way of prioritizing things, the main priority of Ecamm in terms of bandwidth is making sure that those feeds of video coming into Ecamm are going to be the best. That's what you want. You want to have the highest quality of the incoming feeds, so that then your production looks the best. Now, what that means is sometimes the actual return feed that's going back to the guest might not actually be at a sort of full frame rate. There might be a bit of latency there. And so it is important that they're aware of that. So when they come back over to, or when we go back over to our guest computer, if I go back over to the interview mode, sometimes, depending on bandwidth and things like that, they may find, as in fact has happened here, it's probably my my internet connection over here playing up a little bit, but you can see that actually this image has frozen. But it's important that they're aware of the fact that that might have happened, and that, if they're still hearing you, that there's no problem. It's not like on Zoom or something like that, where if the picture goes, usually there's some major problem. So it's important that you sort of just sort of make sure that they're aware of that, because otherwise it could potentially be off-putting for them. So just let them know that it's whatever they're seeing, the frame rate and everything is going to be fine on your side. There are a few other things, though, in terms of the checklist, if I just come back over to that. So the camera, obviously, you're not in control of what your guests are using, but you can certainly give them some recommendations. And one of the things that I always say is that you don't necessarily need the latest and greatest camera, but there's a lot of things that you can do, even with, just an average camera, that's going to make it look a lot better. And that usually has to do with lighting. So lighting can make a huge difference to even the most basic of cameras. So in here, you will find some suggestions in terms of, positioning and stuff like that. So you'll find that all in there as well. Using a wide connection is always going to be preferable to Wi-Fi. And this document is really intended to try and minimize the risk of any issues occurring. So it's not going to guarantee it, but using a desktop computer, checking your internet speed. So the upload speed that they should have, ideally a minimum of 10 megabits per second. But another thing here is, often people will be quoted a speed that they've got for their internet. So they might say, oh, I've got 50 gig, 100 gig, whatever it happens to be. Oh, sorry, megabytes, 50 meg. But often Usually, if they're just given one, usually they'll be given just one number, and when they are, then that will be the download speed, not the upload. But they need to be conscious of their upload speed, and so you can recommend that they go and do a speed test there. Recommended to use the Chrome browser. Talk there about camera and lighting. So here there's a bit more about sort of the setup. I'll leave you to go through all of this actually, because it's a useful document to just sort of read and study and then send to your guests as well. Microphone as well, and headphones. Strongly recommend, as with any live streaming, to use headphones just to minimize the risk of any echo, slapback, to give it its correct name, but all that kind of stuff. If people are using headphones and have a reasonable microphone, then that will be really helpful. But you also want to make sure you're briefing them on your specific requirements as well. So that would be things like your run of show, making sure that they know, what to expect. I've mentioned about having a sort of an initial call beforehand, but then also definitely make sure that they call in a little bit sooner than you actually require them, to make sure you can do a sound check and all of that kind of stuff. And then just let them know, what to expect in terms of how long they're going to be, if there's any sections that you've got, if you're going to take any breaks throughout it for, ad breaks or whatever. I don't know what your production is going to be, but make sure that they're fully aware of what to expect, basically. That's what this is all about. Then I've included a little pre-interview guest checklist. So before they start, they may not be used to just sort of running through all these things, closing down any applications that they've got that they may not be using, close any unnecessary tabs on their browser and things like that. They might have Chrome open. Some people have hundreds of tabs. That's not going to do a lot for processing performance. So all these kind of things. So it's just a general sort of checklist, really. It actually applies equally to live streamers as well. And to you and the host. So definitely go and grab that download. It covers quite a lot in there, and as I say, it basically goes through in text format with some little snaps here as well. Everything that I've talked about today. So I'll just go back and just check off some of these other questions. Can I demonstrate displaying the guest name in the broadcast? So if a guest changes, the name automatically changes. The name in the broadcast here, what I was talking about was you might well have, let's go back to our scene with two people. Let's just go to this one. You can obviously add text overlays. So that would be here. Click on here, click a text overlay. I'll put my name. It's in black, very convenient. Black on a black background. I'm now going to choose a terrible color. I like to think I've got, reasonably good color sense, but for some reason, when I do live demos, I always choose something absolutely terrible. So let me change the background to something different. There we go. Ecamm colors. Even that is shocking, isn't it? But there you go. You get the idea. So you could put your names on your scene like this, and add all sorts of styling, borders, and so on. I'm just going to leave this looking terrible. You just have to take my word for it. That I can do something better than this if I put my mind to it. So here you could have that, and you can drag this over to the other person and put their name. But then what I would do is, if you were doing something like a virtual conference, for example, don't forget you can have multiple different scenes set up. So this might be, speaker one, like that. And then you might have a duplicate of this scene, but it's actually called speaker two. Put the speaker two's name in there. And so if you've got your sort of run of your conference, you would have your different scenes set up for each one. And then, you go to the first one, it's got that person there. And then you go to the second one. I think I've got those the wrong way around. Where's it gone? I think I've changed the wrong one. I'll tell you what it is. It's because I've put them in the show in all scenes. I do beg your pardon. There we go. If you have got a scene locked, the default location for any overlay you add in will be in all scenes. So that's why that has appeared like that. You just copy these. Another little tip, since I've just made this little error, you can always copy and paste. So I can paste those there. Come into this next scene here. Whoops daisy, this one. And now I can just press Command V to paste. You can also paste scenes as well, and you can paste scenes between profile. A bit of a digression here, but if you've created something and you want to create another presentation, you might want to just copy that scene over from the other one. So this could be speaker one. So there is no sort of live updating of these on the screen itself. It's a case of doing the planning beforehand that this is going to be the scene with this person. And then obviously if I came to this other one here, this presumably would have a different person in it. So this might be speaker 3, for example. So as I go from this scene to this one, it would be flicking between those two people. So that's the way that you would do that. Let's see what other questions they got. Once an interviewer is sharing their screen, can they switch their view so the shared presentation is the primary visual to make it easier for them to present their slides? Oh, I see what you mean. In the actual interview window here. No, the slides themselves, let me come back over to that. I think that what you mean is, in the same way that we showed that you can flick these ones, can you actually flick to make the presentation in this window itself? You can't do that, but obviously they do have the presentation on their side, so they could just literally make that bigger on the screen and do it that way. So that would be the way that they would that would be the way that they'd do that. Let's have a look. Do you ever send a gear kit to your guests? I don't personally, and the reason is because I've been quite cunning. In my my podcast, the Live Streamer Backstage podcast, I interview fellow live streamers, and they all just happen to use Ecamm. So they've all got great setups. So that's how I swerved around that issue. But in conferences and stuff like that, yeah, you can send out certain things to people that way if they're going to be. Yeah, if you're going to have speakers and things like that, then certainly you can do that. Let's have a little look. Will sharing through other browsers as Chrome be... Sorry. Will screen sharing through other browsers as Chrome will become available? So one thing you can't do with Safari is if you are a guest and you're using Ecamm, then the Ecamm Virtual Cam I don't think works too well in Safari. Does it not work with screen sharing? I might have to check that one. Maybe someone's already answered that. What quality does video through Chrome come in? Any differences with guests using 4K? This is something to mention, is that the guest video, I believe in 4 it was updated to 1080p for guest video coming into your presentation, into your Ecamm, but the ISO video is only going to be 720. So whatever they are streaming on their side, there is going to be that sort of limitation on your side of 1920 for the video coming in, but 720 on the encoding for the ISO, I believe. I should just answer this. I do indeed, Stephen. You can find it at takeonetech.io for any consulting and stuff like that there. You have copied and pasted overlays from one scene to another. Will option drag work as well? Option drag work into another scene. Do you know what? Let's try it. I've got to be honest. I've never done an option drag from one scene into another. So let's come into this scene. Let's try here. I'm going to drag your comment and I'll see if it works. Option, drag onto a scene. Let's have a look. Bingo, it did work. It's one of those ones that if you think you can do it on a Mac, you usually can. So yes, it does indeed. You can actually just drag the overlay into another scene as well. I've learned something myself. I've never actually tried that. That is a great one. Let's go down here. Just wondering what other tips I could investigate now. Can we allow guests to choose the comments? Actually, no, you can't do that at the moment. So yeah, you can't have the guest be the one to choose the comments, but you can at least sort of show them to them. But that would be a great feature request, actually, especially for having someone who's kind of remote being able to do that. But at the moment, no. So you can, it does work with Safari or Edge. I just believe that the Google Chrome is better from a reliability point of view. And I do think there's some issues with the Ecamm Live Virtual Cam as a guest going into Safari, because Apple doesn't really like virtual cams, it seems. So you can't use a virtual camera going into FaceTime, into QuickTime, into Keynote. So Apple's own products, they don't seem to like virtual cams. Not that that's probably going to be an issue for your guest, but there we go. Can we allow the guest to trigger an overlay? No, there's no remote production from that point of view where somebody can remote trigger stuff on your own computer. So no, in that sense, they can't do that. Where do you store a list of show notes and or questions for your guests? So that's the case of if you're going to send stuff to them in advance, you would have to have some other solution for that. You could use the chat window though, the guest chat, to have it that the producer is dropping stuff in there. That would be a great use case for that, so that then your guest is getting things queued up. Incidentally, whilst we are talking about that, let me just show you another little trick, which is actually going to be very useful for that particular use case. Let me just make this window a little bit smaller before I bring it over into live demo mode. This window looks absolutely massive on this screen now. So I'll come into live demo mode. One thing that was added in to Ecamm 4 was the ability to just basically grab any comment and drag it, and it will drag as text. But you can also just drag it over into, I believe, into here. So you see there, I've just basically dragged that comment that you made, and I dragged it down into here, and I click return, and now it's basically adding that that comment into the interview chat. So that's a way that you can, if you've got questions coming in, you might have the remote producer is looking at all of the questions, and when there are any relevant questions that they want to send to just the host, then you can just come over here, grab the comment from the main chat, come and just drop it down into this one, and you'll notice that it does actually preserve the name as well. So you can see that I'm the person who has posted it. Sorry, let me zoom in a little bit for that. I'm the person who's posted it, but it does copy the person's name here and then the question as well. So that was a great question there because it's very, very useful. Any tips on how to monitor comments while you are looking into the camera and interviewing someone? Yeah, it could be just a case of, I use a teleprompter. I don't read scripts or anything like that. But sometimes I will have the comments, in that space, if you've got enough space to have the comments there, so that technically I could be having a sneaky look whilst it looks like I'm looking into the camera. Other than that, sort of looking down below. What I'm doing today is I've actually filtered out so that I'm only seeing the ones that are questions, so that I'm not seeing all the general comments as well. So you've never seen interview chat. So that is activated from here. Let me just come into this mode, and it is just down at the bottom of the interview window. You can see that there's this little show chat window, and that shows and hides that little chat box just down here. What I'll do is, somebody's asking about my lighting. I will do a little video and I'll post it into the group, since there's been a few questions about the background and the lighting and all that sort of stuff. So I'll do that separately so as not to take time today talking about all of that sort of stuff. So if there are any further questions, just let me know. But there is a challenge, as always, associated with today. So your challenge, we've talked about preparing your guests. I've obviously not advanced my slides, naughty. So the challenge for today, though, is to actually go through and brand your show, your interview links, using those the little open graph images and adding your logo, because it does really add a nice little touch of professionalism when you send your thing out. And obviously you can put whatever you want in that little thumbnail. So I have one that I send out for my my podcast guests to come on, and it's got something specific to them in there. So yeah, you can really make something nice and unique. So your challenge then, should you choose to accept it, is to go and brand your interview links with your logo. And obviously anything that we've talked about in terms of practicing, it's really great if you are somebody who is normally a host, to actually experience what it's like on the guest side. So also consider going into the Ecamm group, the Facebook group, and try these things out, and there's always somebody about that's willing to sort of jump on and try things out with you. So if you jump in there and then give it a go, and see what it's like from both sides, so that you know what your guests are experiencing as well. Can you show one scene in your teleprompter showing only your background, so you're making eye contact with your audience while having an overlay of your comments? Yeah, really, you could have any sort of arrangement of this. Maybe I'll just quickly show you kind of what I'm seeing right now, and then that might help it make a little bit more sense. So here is my my main screen where I'm doing all my demos. It's normally 4K. I've reduced the resolution to 1080p, so it doesn't look so massive, or small, I should say, on the screen. I've actually got my keynote presentation down here that's running all of my graphics. So that's where I'm sort of seeing that. And you can see that I've got the chat is actually going over the top of that. But then in my teleprompter, I've actually got that set. So it's just showing me the full Ecamm output. Now in Ecamm, if you go up to the outputs menu, you can send the Ecamm output to a monitor. So I've got my video, the output set to video monitor. But if I turn that off, now my monitor here's gone completely blank. But I could essentially put whatever I wanted on there. And if you remember from day one, what you can do is you can actually pop out any specific camera that you've got. So I could pop out this camera, for example, show source in separate window, and then I could just take camera A and I could put that one up in my teleprompter. Whoops, sorry about that. So I could put that up in my teleprompter, and then I could just drag my my comments up there as well. Sorry, I'm not showing the right thing. So I could drag my my comments up there like that. So you could literally have those both in the teleprompter as well. So yeah, there's lots of ways that you can use the teleprompter. Aside from using it for, text and whatever else you want to put up on the screen, reading script. It's not just about reading scripts. So can the overlays you sent us for the keynote be used in Ecamm as well? Anything you can create in Keynote, you can actually export as images. So technically, you could use those sorts of things directly in Ecamm as well. And the challenge is covered in terms of, I talk about how to actually brand everything up. That's all covered in the PDF. So you'll have the step-by-step guides as how to do it. Okie dokie. Well, I'm running over as always. I do tend to waffle a bit, so sorry to have taken a little bit extra of your time today. If you've got any follow-up questions, though, do feel free to tag me, drop them in the Facebook group or in the Discord as well. I'll get to those for sure. And if there's anything you want to try out in terms of interview mode, then definitely drop that in there. And just tag it also in the Ecamm group with the hashtag Ecamm Advanced 23. So tomorrow, what we're going to be looking at is the virtual camera and virtual mic. And so if you think about all that we've talked about so far in terms of creating immersive presentations, bringing in guests and all of that kind of stuff, now what we're going to be talking about next is basically taking that all into your meeting platform of choice, be it Zoom, Teams, or Discord, or wherever it happens to be. And you can really then, do high quality, well-produced webinars, workshops, virtual conferences and all of that, where all of the speakers, the backstage stuff is going on in Ecamm, and then all of the audience are not necessarily just live on YouTube, but they could be actually in person in your Zoom meetings. And we'll look at how to route audio and things like that to bring people up from the audience into your Ecamm productions as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Thanks all for coming in and hanging out. I hope you found this all useful. As I say, if you've got any questions, do reach out. And of course, definitely go and get those downloads by registering using the link just down below. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I will catch you all same time tomorrow.